Worcester in the 1960s was one of those magical places where the last great years of steam played out against a backdrop of Western region tradition and early diesel modernisation. From Railway Walk, enthusiasts had a perfect vantage point over Shrub Hill station and the surrounding sheds. The sight was unforgettable: a Jubilee class on its way to Birmingham, a standard Class 5 in Brunswick Green running southbound, and the continuing LMS presence, represented by locomotives like 42734, working amongst Great Western lower quadrant signals that still dominated the city. Engines paused to take on water, much of it overflowing from their tenders, before running south towards Gloucester. Behind them lay a cramped but fascinating railway scene. To the right stood the old running sheds, to the left the wagon works and the diesel depot, and further back the small loco works. In the early 1960s, Worcester still had an allocation of around 7 of the pioneering GWR diesel railcars, alongside as many as 90 steam locomotives. The site was tight and awkward, 2 main shed buildings crammed side by side, the goods engine shed, usually reserved for boiler washouts, and the 3-road passenger shed. Halls, castles, pannier tanks, and even ROD-280s were common sights, while light engines bustled about the disposal area and under the looming water tank. Ash disposal was a constant task. Steam engines at Worcester generated up to 19 tons of ash every single day. A mechanical grab loaded the ash into wagons, while the unusual coaling stage, an electric skip hoist filled from drums, was something rarely seen elsewhere in the Western region. By the mid-1960s, diesels were beginning to make their presence felt. Hymeks diesels arrived in 1963 to take over some of the castle workings, while Western moguls and standard classes still handled traditional duties. The loco works itself was so small that only tank engines could be accommodated inside. Tender locomotives had to be split before they could be worked on. August 1965 brought a memorable occasion when preserved locomotives 6435 and 4555, along with the famous 4079. Pendennis Castle appeared at Worcester during an Ian Allen rail tour. Enthusiasts were even allowed onto the shed, where Pendennis Castle shone in immaculate Great Western style, complete with red headlamps. A pre-1930s touch carried only for show. Engines arriving at Worcester were often turned on the triangle of lines formed by Shrub Hill, Rainbow Hill, and Tunnel Junction, ready to head either up towards London or down to Hereford and Stourbridge. Though Worcester was firmly Great Western territory, unusual visitors occasionally arrived. In October 1965, Southern Pacific 34079, named 141 Squadron, was serviced here, while in July 1964, an A1 Pacific 60114 named W.P. Allen, failed at Worcester during a rail tour, was repaired at the shed and later worked a service northwards. A rare sight indeed amongst the Western types. Despite this variety, a 1958 Western Region report had been blunt about Worcester Shed. The facilities were judged very poor, yet the inspectors praised the spirit of the staff, noting their cooperative attitude and pride in their work. But time was running out. By late 1965, Worcester was one of the last strongholds of steam in the region. Granges, Prairies, Black Fives and castles still lingered, but their days were numbered. The official closure to steam came on the 1st of January 1966, marking the end of an era. Afterwards, the site lived on as a diesel depot until 1985. Today, almost nothing remains of the old steam sheds. The loco works, goods shed and passenger shed are long gone, and the area has been redeveloped. Only the triangle of lines and the memories captured in photographs and film hint at what once was. Worcester in the 1960s was a place where the golden age of the Great Western met the hard realities of modernisation. The whistles of Black Fives, the grandeur of castles, and the experimental hum of diesel railcars all shared this cramped but unforgettable depot. If you've enjoyed this journey back in time, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe so we can keep the memory of railway heritage alive.